torch that place and start from scratch. Here.
Some good GIF. What's up, agents? How y'all doing? Hope everybody's hanging in there, being safe, at least as safe as you need to be. Bringing you another My Opinion build video. This is for any of you guys who have thought about hardcore and not given it a shot. I'm going to basically go over my overview of hardcore. I'll talk about some of the struggles I had, what it took for me to get to gear score 500, what it took to get up to level 40, the things that I recommend looking for, the builds I recommend running, and just some overall tips. Before really jumping into that, I want to thank all you guys who have subscribed to the channel, have been sharing the videos, and particularly to you guys who comment and help me to come up with new ideas or share different variations that you've tried. You guys help a lot. You guys really inspire me to keep going and to help me come up with new stuff. On the other end, sometimes you get stuff like this where a guy checks out a build like my headshot build and just talks, essentially trolls. And it's like, so I'll probably respond to the comment right away, but then I'll probably delete it because nobody needs the negativity. And let's face it, this one particular case, this guy didn't like the fact that I built a sniper build that's in the game from skills, and his position is, well, I run an actual sniper, and you could do so much more, and the technician is to take out enemy. Dude, I don't know how you play. I don't know the group you play with. Some people just play solo. Some people play in a group where they want. So it's just funny. So while I do appreciate all the comments, if it is a troll comment, realize that I'll probably mess with you for a minute. But then I'm just going to delete the comment because nobody really needs that negativity, especially in this day and age with everything going on in the world. And it's a video game. We're supposed to have fun. I'm trying to promote it and make it as fun as possible. That being said, hardcore game mode really goes against that on every level and will try to put you in your place. So without further ado, let me just get into some of my opinion on how to run hardcore. So a couple things to note. That one is that your recal and your optimization station is shared with the softcore characters. So if you already have your recal station maxed out, you have all the talents, you have all that, as soon as you start in hardcore, you will have access to all that. So that's great because that means you can recalibrate and start recalibrating your gear right out the gate as soon as you have the resources to do such. At the same time, you guys should note, we do not have access to the stash, meaning you cannot store anything in it. However, you are able to access the stash as far as pulling out deliveries. So one of the biggest benefits for a hardcore character is any of the seasonal or league activities that you have. You guys know if you don't cash in, if you don't pick up your rewards, they get sent to the deliveries thing in your mailbox. Well, what I've done is I purposely never pick any of those up. I let them all go to the mailbox, and then when I open up my hardcore character, I can take all those things out so you can get resources, you get optimization materials, you get the named item caches, exotic caches. So one way to gear up your characters is to utilize that. Now, no, you can't take a first level character and open it up and get gear that's level 1. It's all going to be the level that it dropped at. So, of course, in my case, all the caches open as level 40 caches. The good news is they'll all open at the heroic level when I open them, but you won't be able to use a lot of them. But you can sell a lot of that stuff. So if you open this gear and, if you get a weapon that's going to be amazing at level 40, obviously you want to hold on to that. Anything else, you could sell it for the credit or break it down for the resources. Another thing to keep in mind while you're doing this is all the softcore apparel caches that you stacked up. Most of you guys probably have well over 99 of these apparel caches. You guys know this, every time you get a duplicate item, you get experience. Well, you can open this on your hardcore character and get that duplicate experience rocking. So, right when you start out, you can kick your level up quite a bit simply by opening the apparel caches. So that is an option you guys have, provided that they... In all fairness, I started my hardcore character a while ago, so I have not checked this recently. They may have patched it, but at the time that I started, that was an option. Hopefully it's still an option for you guys. Now, unfortunately, the SHD levels that you share across all your softcore characters are not shared with your hardcore character. So once you get to level 40, and you go through the Warlords of New York campaign, you unlock Keener's wristwatch, and you start getting your SHD levels, you will have to start from level 1. And another thing, of course, this should go without saying, but you don't get to cross-mix. You can't invite a soft core character into your group or join somebody else's. I was thinking one of the best ways that might help keep me alive, because, and I've tried, I was able to successfully matchmake once in hardcore. I matchmade at a control point. We finished the control point, and immediately upon finishing, the dude left his own group. So that's how hard it is to find people. So I was hoping that maybe I could join or invite people from the softcore mode. Nope, not an option. So sorry about that. What's the most important feature of hardcore mode? Well, versus softcore, it's generally we just want to put the most damage down range as possible. We're looking for those big numbers. And hardcore, of course, being able to deal enough damage is imperative, but sustain, survivability is key in this. So, what are our options for enhancing our survivability? Well, the first one, obviously, you always want to equip the better gear that you get, so that will give you higher armor. The more armor you have, of course, the better chance you have of living. As far as the chest talents, as soon as I started, I was just praying to get an unbreakable chest piece as soon as possible. Effectively with Unbreakable, that means I could play like I would normally want to play up until Unbreakable would proc. And as soon as I saw Unbreakable proc, that meant I had to go into safety mode. That means I had 60 seconds of playing it as safe as possible, but that saved my ass a lot of times, and that's why I have my level 40 character now. Now, other sorts of perks you could look for, particularly on the backpack, to help with survivability. Bloodsucker. Every time you kill an enemy, you get some bonus armor. I don't like things that give you bonus armor for the most part because I'd rather get actual armor back, but bonus armor is definitely beneficial, and it does allow you to take advantage of that bonus armor in certain situations, deal out some damage knowing it's not coming out of your actual armor, take some cover. On that note, another great one is Galvanized. If you are going to be running some sort of a status effect, this can help to get you 40% of your armor as bonus armor. I personally did not choose to run any status effects, so I didn't go this route. But if you choose to run a status effect type build, definitely consider Galvanized. Another one that works all right is Ad Rush, the Adrenaline Rush backpack talent. The problem with Adrenaline Rush is you do have to be close to enemies in hardcore. I basically want to put as much distance between myself and the enemies as possible at any given moment. Now, an interesting combo you could try running is Efficient and Energize, and this will give you the ability to use an armor kit and have a 50% chance of it not using up the armor kit. So that, of course, will add some efficiency as far as survivability in giving you more armor back over time. And then, of course, if you mix this with the Energize perk, what we're looking at is every time you use this and you're not on cooldown, you actually gain a skill tier. So what you could do is use this for an overcharge or just to get a little bit higher skill tier if you're running less than skill tier 6 as your main build. We'll just cover the mitigation again real quick. You'll be looking for things like Unbreakable, Bloodsucker, Galvanize, Adrenaline Rush, and then maybe the Efficient Energized combination, if you guys get that. Basically what we're doing is we're looking for anything that will give us armor back or give us bonus armor to keep us from losing our true armor. Now, as far as survivability and the sustain, one of the main areas that we need to focus on is healing. Since we mentioned about the armor kits are the most inefficient way of healing because you have a finite number. When you use them up, you have to find a way to get some more. But we do have quite a few skills that can help with your healing. Of course, once you get far enough in the game, you get access to the repair trap. We're going to toss that one right out anyway. First of all, you get it much too late for it to really be an option early game. You can't choose it in the beginning, and it's probably the worst form of healing that we have in the game. So, repair traps, get rid of those. Now, a really great one is the Mender Seeker Mine. This will, when you deploy it, it will just wait for you to take some damage and put out a cloud that will sit there and heal you over time during the duration. Especially solo, this is a great way to heal yourself. The downside is that you have to unlock the specialization to get this, so you won't get this till later on. So you may want to visit this later, but we're looking for a healing that's available right in the beginning of the game. Now, one option that you have is the Fixer Drone. Now, this is great because you can deploy it and it'll just follow you around and heal you. The downside is the healing is pretty much the least amount of healing in the game. And because it's a drone and it's up above, it means that it can fairly easily be shot down. So the Fixer Drone does work, but it's not going to be what I recommend as the primary healing. There's two methods of healing that leaves that, and this is what you got to figure out. Now, you could go with the Chem Launcher, and this will give you the most amount of burst and sustained healing that you can get, but you have a finite amount of charges, and you do have to pay attention to where you're firing the charges, how you're setting them down, and there's just a bit more management versus using the Restorer Hive. And this is what I went with, and I like the Restorer Hive for a number of reasons. One, it has good healing. You can get a lot of charges in it, and if you place it strategically, you can move around in a quite large area and still have access to that healing without having to really think about it. The hive's just waiting for you to take damage and it'll heal you. So there's a lot more management that you could spend on strategizing your positioning, the enemy positioning, and how to take advantage of that, and worry much less about the healing. So I do recommend the Healing Hive. My second choice would be the Chem Launcher. Now, as far as the second skill, and what I'll do is I'll actually consider this, we'll consider it our primary skill. We got the healing. You got a lot of different options, and you guys really have to figure out what matters is what works best for you, right? Are you a sticky bomb guy? Can you use the sticky bomb with good enough effect? You don't miss, you kill your target, and you're able to keep yourself alive while you wait for that next sticky bomb to come back. Whatever it happens to be, there's a myriad of reasons why certain skills would work great and a myriad of reasons why they may have some issues. A lot of them pertain to cooldown. So what I did to mitigate my cooldown is I decided to go with the Assault Turret. Very easy to use. The cooldown itself is not too bad, but the fact that you can deploy it and then pick it back up, and essentially what I can do is deploy my turret, let it kill one or two things, and then pick it up, and it only have a 2-3 second cooldown instead of having to wait 20 seconds, and then I could put it up again. And by doing this frequently, and given if you're using kinetic momentum, right, so you have to build those stacks, you may not want to do it this route. But anything shy of using kinetic momentum, I highly suggest keep your turret near you, pick it up, put it up, and take it down often so that you're never stuck with that 15, 20, 25 second cooldown where you don't have any output other than you popping out of cover to take shots. Now, the few things, the biggest advantages to running the turret, right? The turret does have a good duration. It has a decent amount of health. It doesn't get bursted down very often, so you don't generally have to worry about somebody taking your turret out. You can actually retarget when it works. Now, that's another huge issue that I won't get into here. Another thing is, once you unlock the Technician, you can have the Faraday field, so this will then keep you from being shocked or disrupted, so that's an obvious advantage, huge advantage right there. Another thing that why I like the turret, and this won't be an option very much if you're taking it down, putting it up, because each time you put it up, it'll be back to full health. But if the turret is getting blasted down, the hive will try to help and heal your turret as well. Of course, this could be a net negative. If your hive is wasting all of its charges healing your turret, and all of a sudden it doesn't have enough healing for you, bad news. Obviously, play hardcore the way you want. One of the biggest ways that I survived was I would never pop out to start taking shots on people until I whittled the enemy down to maybe 2-3 units left. When there's 7-8 dudes running around, a dog running around, whatever it happens to be, I'm not trying to put myself in a position where suddenly I can get bursted down for any reason. So that's just the way I played. You got to use the skills that you want. There's other skills that are deployable. You just play around with it. Let me know. If you guys try something out, you find something that works for you, something that you feel confident and safe using in hardcore, let us know down below. Now, let's quickly talk about other forms of healing we have as far as equipment. So one thing you can do is opt for 1 or 2 pieces of the Bellstone Armory brand set if you get this. The first piece will give you 1% of your armor regen per second. And while that doesn't seem like a lot, first of all, this can help mitigate that critical hit we take. And if we already have our armor building up, that means there's a chance we could take another critical hit without going down. In hardcore, that is extremely effective. The 2-piece of the Bellstone Armory will, in addition, give us 10% armor on kill. So not only will we be getting that 1% per second, but every time we get a kill, we will get a decent amount of our health back, or our armor back, rather, that way. And this is actual armor, not bonus armor. So this is an effective method of true healing. Now, you could go with the name Murakami piece. This will give us an additional 1% armor per second. Downside of this is the DZ only, so you'd have to go into the DZ. But here's another thing that I should note regarding the named caches. Named caches, when opened on your hardcore character, can drop DZ loot as well. I'm happy that they had the foresight to realize a lot of dudes playing hardcore probably are not going to want to go into the dark zone, and they still wanted to make sure we had access to some of those super pieces of equipment. So opening the named caches can provide you with the dark zone only exclusive loot. One of them being this Murakami piece. You can also get the death grips, things like that. So the death grips are awesome. The death grips will give you 10% armor per kill. So that's another 10% right there. We could get just through our gear. The Murakami piece would be able to give us the additional 1% armor per second. And then another thing later on, and I don't believe you can get it under level 30, but if maybe I'm wrong, hopefully if you guys get lucky, maybe you guys could get the MOP, the name shotgun, to drop for you. And this can roll, this will roll with another 10% armor per kill. So just through equipment, the brand sets, and the weapon, you theoretically can get up to 30% armor per kill right there. That's without taking any mods into account. And you generally will not get the mods till later on in the game. So we will not consider that as an option early on. And for the most part, don't plan on getting any of these name gear right away. But the Bellstone, if you can get some Bellstone pieces, these will be great to help with your sustaining your survivability. All right, guys, so a couple quick things. When you start out the game and you start unlocking some of the skills and stuff, as far as the Quartermaster, the first thing that I would recommend is unlocking the accolades. That's the experience boost that you get for certain things like headshotting enemies, staying alive for a certain amount of time, and this and that. I think there's five different levels of it. You want to unlock all those first. That will make sure that you're maxing out the amount of experience you get. If you're using the experience boost trick, it may not be as important, but I still recommend doing that. After that, I'd recommend unlocking the armor restock. Whenever you enter a safe space, this will make sure anytime you get into a safe space, you get all your armor kits back. It'll make it so you're not looking around for those. And then after that, you want to unlock the number of armor kits that you can have. So then, really, the last thing is to just talk a little bit about gameplay. So the biggest thing in hardcore is situational awareness. I'm sure you guys playing in the normal mode, when you're just running around in the open world and you take on an engagement and you start shooting at somebody, and all of a sudden a group on your left, a group on your right, a group behind you, somehow they hear the gunshots. Now you're being engaged from multiple angles at the same time. That is what you absolutely want to avoid at all costs in hardcore mode. Another one is the loading and latency issues we have. If I check and I'm at over 35 milliseconds of latency, I won't even bother playing, because I've been in cases, and I actually died at level 19 with my very first hardcore character. I was running down some random street, big open street, and then all of a sudden the enemies that were supposed to be in a certain area that they didn't spawn in, they literally spawned them all in around me. 2 guys 3 feet away from me just spawned in the enemies, immediately attacking me. I had no time to do anything, and bam, I went down. And that was when I used to run the Reviver Hive, thinking that's the best thing, because the Reviver Hive brought me back up, right in time for the dude to just immediately burst me back down. So terrible. So I do not recommend playing when there's latency. The other thing is you guys can never walk away. I don't care if your door rings, whatever. If the doorbell rings, you need to select log out, and you need to sit there. There's a 4-second counter that says touch any button to quit it. it will not log you out until that is done. And even then, I'm highly skeptical. I always like to go to a safe zone. You could turn away for 10, 15 seconds, and that could be the end of you if the game spawns somebody in. And it's quick and as easy as that. So it's super unforgiving, and I almost wish that the hardcore mode was an offline mode, so you were not dealing with their servers. Ubisoft's servers are not. This is the number one reason why I do not recommend running a hardcore character. The number one thing you will be fighting is the servers, lag, latency, and issues with skills based on that. Skills not deploying. I've had it where last night I was playing some hardcore, getting this. I put up my turret. Literally 4 seconds after I put up the turret, it finally popped up. 3 seconds later, it started shooting. In hardcore, that's I could easily be dead in that amount of time. So, if you guys are going to play hardcore, just realize that there is a good chance that you could have one bad moment and that's it. So, situational awareness, no matter what you're doing, always try to make sure that you're in a position where you can retreat and where you have adequate cover, concealment, and protection. So lastly, guys, most of you guys will be doing the hardcore simply because you're going after the highest commendation score you can get. I'm to the point now where all of the remaining commendation I have is just the highest tier summit things, which is just time, opening those 300 crates and stuff like that. And then it's raid stuff. And then hardcore. A lot of it is the hardcore raid. One of the issues I'm having, I can't find anybody to do hardcore and normal content. So how am I going to get these points in the raid? So realize that you very well may be able to get quite a bit of the commendation score done in hardcore, and some of it may be harder. Maybe you guys will have an easier time grouping up. And if any of you guys are on PS4 and want to do some hardcore, leave a comment, hit me up. My username is the same, miahpinionpodcast. I'd be happy to get together with some groups and either try to strategize, get through both the raids if people are willing to do that. Just realize that it is, things might happen. So, agents, just do this, have fun with it, and that's all you can do. It's just, it is exactly like it says. It is hardcore. So, I hope that you guys found this entertaining, maybe learned something. Maybe it inspired you to start a hardcore character. Maybe it inspired you to stay away from hardcore. Either way, I hope you guys did get something out of this. Do me a favor, smash that like button. Hopefully I've earned your subscription if I don't already have it by now. If any of this can help anybody you know, or you just think it's entertaining, please share the video. You agents, take it easy. Be safe out there. And I'll see you all in the dark zone. Oh, dude. Keep sending them, bitches.